Okay, well, I'd like to welcome everyone today to the Apata Cafe, our monthly colloquium featuring cutting edge Anabaptist scholarship. Thank you for joining us for today's presentation with Rivka Neriya-Ben Shahar of Sapir Academic College, who will be speaking with us today about Old Order Amish and Jewish Ultra-Orthodox women's responses to the internet. And as she mentioned, Rivka has a new book just published titled Strictly Observant Amish and Ultra-Orthodox Jewish Women Negotiating Media. And so I'm going to put a link to that book into the chat right now. To begin, I'd like to thank Andrea Waxmansky, an integral member of our APASA Scholarship Committee. She is the one who manages the technology to make this event possible, and we are so grateful for that. Thank you. For those of you who are joining us for the first time, please save your questions for the end of the presentation, or feel free to put them in the chat. Our presenter today is going to be speaking for about half an hour, and that should allow us plenty of time for questions and conversation afterwards. If you do participate in the conversation after the presentation, your questions and comments will be recorded, and those recordings will be available to our members on our website. You can check that out, as well as access previous APASA cafes, if you're interested, at amishstudies.org. If you're joining us by phone and would like to ask a question, please unmute by pushing the star and the 6, and that should unlock your microphone for us. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce today's host, Rivka Neriya-Ben Shahar. Thank you for being here today and sharing your really exciting work with us.
Thank you, Natalie. Thank you so much. And thank you, Corey and Christine. It was such a great time to see you at the conference. And now, Zoom can solve so many problems, but it can't create the real connections that we have in the conferences. So we will just run directly to the talk. So you also, you already said what is our subject. So let's move directly to some words about both community. So the talk will be this way, sort of real, very high sandwich, some words about both communities, a story, and then some data from my work. And if we will have time at the end, perhaps after your questions, I'll tell you the story. I already, Christine and Corey already heard it, how I took the Amish to the Atlantic City, but this just if we will have time, and if not, I'll keep it to another time. So I suppose that most of you know the Amish very well, but just in some words, they are ethnocultural religious Christian group. And of course, they are Anabaptist, and the Ultra-Orthodox are in the middle of a very hard situation here in Israel. Just today, the Supreme Court is supposed to decide if the Ultra-Orthodox men will join the army or not. So it's unbelievably hard situation here with the war and everything, and the Ultra-Orthodox are part of the hard situation, but they are very similar to the Amish in terms of their religious and social lives are absolutely bounded by strict interpretation of the Jewish religious law. So, for example, they think that they need to study Torah, the religious studies, Talmud the whole day, and then they can't join the army. Some awards, there are 9% of the Israel's adult population. In terms of the real part of the population, there are 13%. Most of them are Society of Scholar, which means that they study, and they are the only community, to the best of my knowledge, in the world that they study the whole day. Most of the men don't work and they don't provide for their family. They just I'm sorry, it's very hard for me to see myself. Can you have a solution that I will not see myself, but all the people will see me, participants will see me? Natalie? Okay. Can you see me?
No, so there's a setting on your own Zoom, just looking for it, where you can change your view.
Okay, but then can I do that? I will not see myself
You will
and
not
you
see
can
yourself,
see
but
me?
we will all see you. It's
Okay.
let me
So
just
I'm sorry. I'll stop the share
Oh,
for one moment and then I'll do that.
okay, I'm just looking. Does
Okay?
anyone know offhand? I haven't done it in a while.
Because I didn't hide self-view, but then I saw myself. Okay, let's see. I wanted you will see me and no, perhaps this is part of the, okay, let's see. I'm sorry.
Oh no, it's fine. I just can't
Okay.
remember. I'm
So I'll
just
try to take care of that. Okay, now can you see me? And can you see
Yes,
me?
we can
Great,
see
and
you.
I can see myself. Great, so I'm sorry. So the ultra-Orthodox men, more than 50% of them are only study in the yeshiva, in a Jewish special place that they can study Torah, which means that the women work very hard and they provide for the family, and they also get a lot of government support, which makes the Israeli population very angry with them. And I already spoke about the army service, but this is and not really part of our talk. So the ultra-Orthodox women, like the Amish women, are the main part of my study. Most of them study at least 14 years. The basic system for the women education for women is 14 years. Like they have elementary school, high school, and then seminars that they study. They can be a teacher or different things that they can provide for the family. They have about 7 children per woman, and about 70% of them work out of home, many of them for full-time job. At the same time, they are very, very, very poor because the men don't work and the women, they don't really have high education. They didn't go to the universities, so they have a less amount of salary, which means with a very a large family, it means that this community is very, very poor. The Amish, most of them live in North America and Canada, and there are, I needed to change the numbers, I'm sorry, but there are more than 330,000 people. However, in terms of the US, part of the US population, there are only 0.001%. And as one of the my friends said, yeah, the Amish pay everything, but they don't get from the government. And the ultra-Orthodox, unfortunately, they don't really pay taxes because most of them are so poor that they don't need to pay taxes, but they get everything from the government and they get a lot of support. I just want to make sure that you hear me and everything is fine. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yep, it's great.
Okay, great. Okay. So some, just only some points before I go to the story and tell you about the study. The Amish, of course, are plain and simple. They're obedient to the community and the church, and they try very hard to separate themselves from the modern culture. Um, the ultra-Orthodox, at the same time, they are very obedient to their community, but they don't really try to separate themselves from the modern culture. They go to the hospitals, they get all the health support that they can get in Israel. They have electricity, they have all the machines they need, they drive. So in terms of their relationship with technology, they are very different from the Amish. The Amish women, let's see if somebody know what these women prepare here. Do you know what this? Or if people can't answer me, you can write in the chat. So after I'll explain, I say what is. They have 8 years of education and they have almost the same numbers as the ultra-Orthodox, 7 children. But the main difference is that many of them are staying at home moms. They, when they get married, they take care of the kids and they don't, they stop working outside home. However, nowadays there are many Amish women that they have small businesses or they join their husband's small businesses, so things are changed. Let's see if you knew. Yeah, these are wappy pies. Wow, I never taste it. Unfortunately, I eat only kosher food, but I saw it and I helped to prepare it and I washed all the trays. So I worked very hard for this wappy pie, but I didn't eat it. So now for our first story and how always people ask me, how did you find them? Like, You are here in Israel. How did you find the Amish? So I'll try to make it short. It was when I wrote my PhD. My advisor, Professor Chilik Limor, asked me to write in the literature review to have some paragraphs about the Amish and compare them to the Ultra-Orthodox. I found that all the books about the Amish are in English, and I hated to read in English. So I said, no, I don't want, I don't have time. They are not Jewish. Why do I need to compare them? Whatever. And he just forced me to do that, and I thank him for that. So I started to read about the Amish, and I fell in love with them. Then I decided that hopefully I'll finish my PhD, and for my postdoc, I will conduct a comparative research between the Amish and the Ultra-Orthodox. Very nice idea. I tried. Now I'm not sure that you can hear me. So perhaps if one of you, Natalie or Christine or Corey, if I can see you and you will let me know if something is wrong, I would be very happy, because sometimes it disconnects and I'm not sure that you
Yep.
can see me.
No, we can see you great.
Right? Okay. So you will let me know if there is a problem. Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. So all right. Okay. So I submitted many proposal for postdoc, and I didn't get anything. It was 12 proposals and zero receiving letter. And I cried, of course, a lot. And I had a meeting with an American professor, Mark Bretler. He was Brandeis at this time. And he was very, directive when he said to me, look, you haven't been to the States. You don't speak English. You don't know any Amish people. Who will give you a grant? It doesn't make sense. So try another way, try to write another proposal about another study. Hopefully you'll get something. Once you've been to the States, perhaps you will meet Amish and everything will change. Okay, I submitted another proposal. This time I got an invitation for a Fulbright interview, which means that I had to learn how to speak in English in less than 3 weeks. I learned by heart all the questions and answers that they could ask. It was unbelievably hard, but thank God I got Fulbright. My husband got grant from Harvard, and great, we are going to the US. Just at this point, I figure out that we will live in Massachusetts and there are no Amish in Massachusetts. So when some days after we came, we started to figure out how will we find someone in Pennsylvania that we can come and visit, and then we will have a time to see the Amish. So we came for the Thanksgiving for Jewish family, and we wanted to see the Amish. So we started to ask friends, where are the Amish? How can we see them? And remember the answer that one of our friends said, no Amish will invite you for breakfast, but you will go there. There are many museums. You will enjoy the museums. So I was so depressed because going all the way from Israel to the United States because I wanted to meet the real Amish people. And then at the end to go to a museum doesn't make sense. So my spouse said, okay, let's have some addresses in our GPS for museums about the Amish. Hopefully something would happen. We went there. We came very early. All the museums were closed. We started to drive around, try to find Amish people. We didn't find anybody. And then we saw one Amish in his buggy, and my spouse said, okay, let's follow him. So we decided to follow him. And here you can you see the buggy? Okay, this is our Jeep, Grand Cherokee. We followed him, all the traffic behind us. And I became so crazy that I said to my spouse, you know what? Let's kidnap him. We will kidnap him. And if the Amish would like to have him back, they will allow me to do research. I said, please calm down. Please, please calm down. And I said, you know what? We don't have space for him and for the horse in the car. And also I signed a contract with Fulbright that I will not do any crime in the United States. So let's just hope. Then I started to pray, and I recite Psalms, and I say, please, God, please, you know that this is my dream. We are already here. Just do something for me. And then, like in the prayer, from one of the farms came out young Amish woman. She went to take the post mail, and my husband say, Rivka, the opportunity of your life. And I say, okay, what would you like me to do? I don't know, but if I would see, something, the dream of my life just became true, I would do something. So I jumped from the car, I ran after her, and I didn't know what to say. So I just said the first sentence I had in my mind, and it was like, "Hi, my name is Rebecca, like Rebecca from the Bible. I came from Jerusalem, from the Holy Land. Can I speak with you?" So she turned around and she said, "What?" And then I said it again. And until today, she always remember how I jumped to the yard and screamed. She invited us to see the farm. Her father was shocked that we are Jews still exist in the world. And he asked many questions. And I asked her to ask her mother if you can come in. She invited us for breakfast. Remember the sentence? But of course, this is not research. So we took their address. And when we came back home to Boston, I sent her a letter asking for to come for visit. And it took almost 2 months just, till she answered me because I didn't know that they have phone outside the home. And at the end, I arrived there. It was a very cold morning in February. And I sat with her and I said to myself, don't mention the word research for at least 25 hours. So I wrote in the letter that I promise her to take part of all the housekeeping stuff. And because, she has 8 kids, she is so busy. And after that, she said, I didn't believe you for a moment, but thank God she allowed me to come. So after some minutes, I said, okay, my grandmother used to say, when you see dishes in the sink, never ask, what can I help? So I will not ask. And I just took my sleeves and I washed the dishes, and then I folded the laundry, and then I swept the floor, and then I should suggested her to take her in my car to see her family. She was so happy. After 25 hours like that, I said, I came from a university. I have some questions for you. Then she said, you mean research? Of course, you can ask whatever you want. So this is the beginning of our love story. And until now, except COVID time, I try to see them once, or if I can, twice a year. They became really my family and I love them. And also they changed my academic life. So this is a first story. Now that I want you to believe that I'm not only a crazy person that want to kidnap Amish people, but a real researcher. So let's move directly to methods. Um, the next time I came to visit them, I prepared a questionnaire and I sat with 6 Amish women. They filled the questionnaire, and at the same time, they gave me comments that I had to change something, some sensitive thing. I ran to Staples, I ran to the bank, I took some money. Here you see the envelope from Bank of America, and all the questionnaire I paid out of pocket because I understood that this is really the opportunity of my life. And my Amish friends helped me to spread the questionnaires and they gave it to me back when we came at the end of the year. So most of the questions were yes, no, or open-ended. I paid, as I told you, for the questionnaire, and I promised them complete anonymity. I don't know who are the women that answer the questionnaires, and everything was very sensitive because they helped me like to change some wording that like I didn't know that they're a sensitive word. At this time, I was afraid that nobody would believe me. This is 2012. The selfie wasn't so common this time. So I took many selfies in the house with things and without, like people would believe me that I really conducted this research. So I wanted to figure out what are the exposure pattern to internet and perception regarding its use among Amish and ultra-Orthodox women. First of all, do they use the internet? What are they doing with it? And what is the extent of these women internet consumption? How do they negotiate the dissonance between the advantages of the internet and their community's values? In both communities, there is real negotiation and compromises about internet consumption. So in terms of the population and the sample, there are all older Amish, main all older Amish from Lancaster, Pennsylvania, ultra-Orthodox women from various places in Israel, and I trusted their self-definition. If this woman said that she's Amish or ultra-Orthodox, I believe her. I didn't, ask many more questions. 40 Amish, 40 ultra-Orthodox women. It was a snowball sampling that the research assistant from both community helped me to find. This is the worst sampling I know. I'm teaching research method. However, I couldn't find something better than that. So in terms of the exposure pattern, there are only few Amish women that had ever used the internet. In terms of regarding the ultra-Orthodox, there are 50%. I would say that today the number is much higher, perhaps in both community, but I can say about the ultra-Orthodox, more than 75% of them use the internet. In terms of the use, the Amish mostly searching information or shopping. Some of them actually take the horse and buggy, go to the public library, and order stuff from Amazon or eBay or whatever they need. The ultra-Orthodox, you should remember that they work outside home. They need the internet for the work. I'm sorry. They need it for search for information. They need emails, news updates, and many of them have family outside Israel, so they need to have contact with them. When I asked them, what do you think of the internet? So the words were very, very hard. I just organized the words in terms of what they said. So distraction can be destructive, dangerous, harmful, cancer, damage, scary, a garbage and feels bad, shocking, horrible. Many mention the word temptation or other version of this word like seduction, slippery slope can be very addictive. In terms of access and invasion, invasion of privacy, hacks, worldly exposed to all things, can be accessed to too easily by anyone, word at your fingertips. And many mentions their religious exclusion. It's better to die and not to be false. It's forbidden, impure, gone to hell, evil thing. And many, many Amish women said it's forbidden by the church, and many ultra-Orthodox women said it's forbidden by the rabbis. I separated their responses to gatekeepers and agent of changes. There are some Amish and ultra-Orthodox women that really try hard to keep the boundaries, to save the limits, not to have nothing that would break the limits they created between them and the modern world. The Amish are not supposed to use the internet. It brings them closer to the world. One Amish woman said to me, I have no idea how to use the internet. All I know is that you have to type in words and there is a little mouse. And when I asked her, do you know what is this mouse? She laughed and she said, this is not a mouse like we have in the farm, but I'm not sure what does it mean. And I never use the internet and I don't even want to do that. The ultra-Orthodox woman said, the internet is the most terrible thing ever. It's poison, Satan, an angel of death, a destruction and revenge, and all the terrible things written in the Bible, the generation of everything. So there were many women that, I have only some sentences here, but you can imagine that there are many other women that said very similar responses. In terms of the agent of changes, there are women in both groups that just understand that, internet is part of the modern life and we can't really, change it. So one ultra-Orthodox woman said to me, a blocked internet is a kosher internet. Kosher, it means kosher, like kosher food. We separate the food, whatever we can eat as Orthodox Jews. And that many of the ultra-Orthodox use blocked internet. It means that they can't have access to many things. So many people have internet at home, but they can't even see news. They can only go to government or if they want to apply for visa for the US or to health providers or banks. But these places are free of like bad things. One Amish woman said it's only as good as the people who use it. This is perhaps one of the most modern response I heard, like it's up to you. This is part of contemporary life and we need to learn how to deal with it. This is another ultra-Orthodox woman. She just say, you need to have some compromise. And one ultra-Orthodox woman even say, people say that my grandmother didn't have internet, my mother didn't have internet, so I supposed to not have internet. So I would say my grandmother didn't have air condition, my mother didn't have air condition, I like my air condition. So this woman obviously said that she prefers the modern life and she wants to stay ultra-Orthodox at the same time. I wanted to share with you one very, very interesting thing. It's called the third person effect theory, written by Davison, and I really like it. It occurs when people perceive media messages to be significantly more influent on other than on themselves. And this explains why many people think that, pornography is very bad for other people. Like, I can control myself. Violence is very bad for children, but I can watch violence and nothing happened to me. So, and also many people think that nobody really see commercials. Nobody cares about commercial. I would just ask, who pays for all these, advertisements and commercial if nobody think about them? So the issue is that we think that other people get influenced by it, but we are not. So I wanted to ask the ultra-Orthodox and then the Amish, what do they think about secular media and if it influences them? So do you think that non-Haredi newspaper, magazine, television, radio, and internet can be harmful to Haredi society? And you can see that most of them said yes. Do you think that all of that can be harmful to your family? And they said yes. Do you think that, all the secular media, here is some um, advertisements that you can see in the ultra-Orthodox neighborhood. It means don't come here if you are not modest. And here it says don't have phone, it's very dangerous. I asked them and they said yes. 95% said yes. So almost the same number as they think about other people and themselves. Within the Amish, I asked, do you think that English, newspaper, magazine, television, radio can be harmful to the Amish society? 90% said yes. In terms of their family, 92 said yes. And when I asked about themselves, 95. So basically, they think that the secular or worldly English media could be harmful more for themselves than for their community. And when I tried to figure out how it happened, I conducted interview with them. And at the end, one Amish woman said to me, I can't understand your question. I tried to explain, the third person effect. And then she said, Rebecca, I'm part of the community. So if it's harmful for my community, it's also harmful for me. And I don't understand when you even ask this question. So while we, the English, perhaps think that we are strong and the media doesn't influence us, it just influences the other people. Both groups, the Amish and the Ultra-Orthodox, really believe that this is very dangerous for most of them. So what I basically found in both community, but mostly within the ultra-Orthodox, that they have internet at home, but with the Amish as well, just because, she can just take the horse and buggy and go to the library and use the internet. In both communities, they really try to have self-control and keep themselves pure. They don't want to get influenced. And you can hear this ultra-Orthodox woman voice when she said, the internet without blocks and control is dangerous. Our sages said, until the day you die, do not believe in yourself. I gave up the convenience, the availability of the information that I need, the cheaper stuff that I could get. The internet is a work tool and belongs only in the workplace. I created for myself a homepage that blocks pop-ups, and I can get access only to legitimate websites that I need for my work. I made it a limit for myself. So she created technological blocks and personal blocks. I also know ultra-Orthodox people that they don't use the internet if their spouses are not at home. Like they feel that if their spouses are at home, they control themselves better. There are ultra-Orthodox that use internet only outside home in a special place closed for ultra-Orthodox, that they can use filter internet over there, but they don't want it at home. People really try very hard to control themselves. And I found, I am almost at the last minute of my talk, that these women have agency. They try, in terms of Mahmoud, definition, agency is not simply a synonym of resistance to social norms, but a modality of actions that specific relations of subordination create and enable. So these women, the Amish and the ultra-Orthodox, they try to limit themselves, or many of them don't use it at all, because they believe that it creates valuable cultural and religious currency for them. So they try to be very respectful members of in this community, and they believe that if they don't use the internet or limit their use of the internet, they become better people, and they it helps them to keep their religious values. And thank you. Here is my email. You are invited to send me emails. And when I came the second time from the Amish, I was so frustrated that they didn't allow me to take pictures of them. So I bought dresses and I dressed my daughter with Amish dresses. And this way I could have photos like the Amish, but it's not real. So now I'll be happy to answer your questions. And if we will have time, I will tell you the next story. So thank you so much.